Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day, everyone. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Sarimah Shamsudin from the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. I'll be presenting our paper at this conference, the 5th Kuala Lumpur International Conference on Management, Education and Technology 2024. The title of our paper that I'll be presenting today is Reading Strategies and Challenges in Case Law Comprehension for Law Students. So basically, there are two authors for this paper, myself and my PhD student Suhaila Abdullah. This will be the major content of our presentation. Basically, we'll start with the introduction, followed by a literature review and then method of our study. Next, we'll be presenting the findings and discussion, followed by the conclusion, and we'll be showing you some of the references that we referred to for our paper. Right. Academic reading is very distinct from casual reading because it requires purposeful and critical engagement with text, according to Budget 2004 and Singapta 2002. Some of the key challenges of academic reading is that students often struggle with complex text featuring dense paragraph, and it also has intricate vocabulary, and the sentences are often lengthy, according to Anwar and Saduddin 2022. And transitioning to academic reading actually demands the student's ability to identify genres, synthesize information, and also interpret authorial intentions. Academic reading is actually important because it shapes a student's academic and professional identities, and it is also vital for their success, especially academically. So basically, the focus of our study is on legal reading, especially case law. So case law is a primary source for developing legal principles and guiding judicial decisions. So students, especially law students, who are capable of reading and competently analyzing judicial opinions, they're more likely to succeed in their academic pursuit, according to Christensen's 2007. However, there are misconceptions and challenges to legal reading. So the skills deployment assumption is that it falsely assumes that incoming law students actually possess the necessary reading skills, according to Stratman 1919. So legal texts actually feature specialized terminology, and they have intricate structures, and the language is challenging, so this makes it difficult for the law students to navigate the text, to comprehend the text they are reading. So it is important to consider the difficulties in reading and interacting with legal materials in the context of legal language, according to Bangani 2024. So the competency in reading legal materials is critical. It's very important for law students to understand primary legal sources and consequently applying legal concepts in various contexts, as suggested by Steele et al. 2016. So developing reading skills early in legal education would actually improve the academic performance and professional development of law students. So if we were to expand the corpus of research on legal reading, Um, it would actually help to offer a comprehensive understanding of the reading strategies used by law students, yeah, and especially when they are actually reading case law, and this would also help us to find out the challenges, okay, that they would experience or encounter when they're dealing with case law. So basically, it will actually help to improve the academic performance and professional development. That the objectives of our study are basically first to examine the reading processing strategies employed by law students when they are engaging with case law. And the second objective is to identify the challenges that they face in comprehending and analyzing legal texts. In terms of the literature review, it's related to studies that legal discourse research only become prominent in the 1970s, and even then, the studies needed to be expanded in scope. So why have we decided to focus on case law? So basically, exposure acquired from reading and understanding legal argumentation will undoubtedly help students improve their legal skills, and cases actually make up the majority of a law student's reading corpus. So despite the growing interest in reading strategies within legal education, the specific study of reading processes in legal discourse, particularly in the context of case law, still needs to be explored further. We would like to highlight in two studies on reading strategies employed by novices and experts, one by Lunderberg, 1987. In Lunderberg's study, experts integrated their understanding of the law, text type, and case analysis strategies into their reading. So strategies that the novices did not employ were indicative of the discrepancies in domain knowledge that the novices lacked. Another study by Christensen, 2008, it was reported that experts spend more time utilizing rhetorical reading strategies and less on default reading strategies compared to novice law students. So basically, novice law students tended to read more rigidly, okay, and they rely on default tactics that did not interact with the text as thoroughly as the experts do. As for the literature on reading strategies employed by novices, or what we will call high performance versus low performance students, there are two studies by Digan, 1995, and Christensen, 2007. So in Digan's study, problematizing and default reading strategies actually differentiate between the high performance and the low performance students. So high performance students actually utilize more of the problematizing reading strategies compared to default strategies. However, on the other hand, low performance students or LP students use more of default than problematizing reading strategies. In Christensen's study, the high performance students employed also a greater number of problematizing reading strategies, followed by rhetorical and default reading strategies. On the other hand, the low performance students heavily utilize the default reading strategies, followed by problematizing and rhetorical strategies. So success in law school is actually directly related to the quality of legal reading strategies of the students rather than their earlier academic achievements. In terms of the literature on reading difficulties and challenges encountered by law students, there are two studies by Arifin in 2010 and 2013. In 2010, Arifin found that law students lacked efficient reading skills. They encountered difficulties when dealing with intricate language, thick organization, foreign vocabulary frequently they encountered in the judicial judgments. So legal educators actually should prioritize uh, by instructing students in the skills of critically and analytically reading legal cases. So, by helping legal students to improve their reading abilities, it would enable the students to actually cultivate a more profound comprehension of the law. In another study in 2013, Arifin suggested there's enormous quantity of cases that students must read, which can often reach 100 in a single course. So, intricacy of legal English defined by its sophisticated and bombastic terminology actually creates an extra hurdle for the students. So, legal texts are distinctive and they are tough, and they can be very discouraging and very frustrating for the law students. Okay, so in terms of methodology, we actually use the qualitative research approach, and we collected our data using the Think Aloud protocol and also post-interview. In the materials that we use for our study is the case law. The case law is called Tan Sung Hoi versus Tu Mil Kim from the Malayan Law Journal. The participants of our study are actually 5 pre-university law students from a Malaysian private university. And then in terms of procedure, all the 5 participants that we label as P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5, they were asked to articulate their thoughts aloud as they read through the case law, and that will be made up the 5 think aloud sessions. So the think aloud sessions by the participants were actually audio recorded and then transcribed. So post-interview was conducted after each of the participants ended their think aloud sessions. The transcriptions from the think aloud protocol were actually analyzed and then coded with reference to the reading strategies that is shown in table 1. As you can see, there are 4 broad reading strategies: default, problematizing, rhetorical, and others. And for each reading strategy, they were also coded according to the sub-strategies as shown in table 1. And at the same time, they were also analyzed. The data was also analyzed for the challenges that the participant experienced or encountered while reading the case law. From analysis of our findings, there were clearly defined strategies that were used exclusively by one participant and not by the other participants, or sometimes there are some strategies used more times by one participant but fewer times by the others. So in general, we found that the default reading strategies is the most significant, mostly used reading strategies by the participants. This is followed by problematizing reading strategy and rhetorical reading strategy, and the least used strategy as the other reading, the category other reading strategy. So in the study, we found 31 sub-strategies out of the 40 sub-strategies listed in table 1 shown before the slide, used by the participants. So we found that there's no single participant who displayed all the 31 sub-strategies, and the maximum strategies displayed was by the second participant, P2, with 25 sub-strategies, and the minimum number of strategies displayed was by the first participant P1, who used 14 sub-strategies, 14 sub-reading strategies. So on this slide, we are actually showing you the frequency of the default reading strategy used by all 5 participants, yeah, which is the most significant. So default reading strategy is the most significant reading strategy. It's basically the basic strategy that readers use when they read any reading materials, yeah. So as you can see, all 17 sub-strategies were used, and we found a total of 419 altogether used by the students. The second most frequent reading strategy used by the participant is the problematizing reading strategy with a frequency of 91, and the participants actually use all 7 sub-strategies. It's purposeful or strategic. It is a strategy where the participants actively responded and engaged with the text. The third most frequent reading strategy is what we call the rhetorical reading strategy. There are 4 sub-strategies. This particular strategy is where the reader examines the text in an evaluative manner, and the readers are expected to actually synthesize what was being read and connect it with their own experiences. So we found there's a frequency of about 59 used by the participants. So finally, the list used is the other reading strategy. There are 3 types there, with a frequency of only 22. So basically, the results of the study actually support the conclusion for earlier studies by Digger 1995, Christensen 2007, and 2008, whereby they found that novice readers do use more default reading strategies compared to problematizing and rhetorical reading strategies. So these 2 least used strategies are important strategies that students should actually employ when they're reading case law, as these strategies can help them to read the case law better. So the expertise in reading case law or any legal materials can be developed in a period of time. So the earlier the students actually achieve the skills, okay, to read like a legal expert, the quicker they will succeed in their schools. So basically, the 2 reading strategies, namely problematizing and rhetorical reading strategies, are very important skills that law students should acquire. Some of the reading challenges that we found from analysis of our data, the reading challenges experienced by the participants of our study is that they have difficulty in comprehending the specialized legal terminology in the case law, such as legal phrases and Latin legal maxims. Okay, they have difficulty as well in identifying the principles of the cases and understanding the statutes presenting in the cases, and they also have difficulty because they don't have the background knowledge about the cases. Shown on the slides are evidence from the transcripts of the post-interview and the Think Aloud protocol, okay, which showed that the students actually face challenges, problems understanding specialized legal terminology such as legal phrases and Latin legal maxims. They see things like, the legal terms Also, and there are certain words which would not be understood because they are the legal terms. And in think aloud protocol, they say something like inter alia, also a Latin word which is a legal term. Okay, so yeah, these are evidence of the challenges that the experience in understanding specialized terminology. Next on this slide, evidence of the reading challenges that they experience in identifying the principles of the cases and in understanding the statutes here presented in the cases. So this is something that I can't find the principles that is used in the case as in the interview transcripts, and this is something that I need to know what section 3 of the act is all about. And as you can see in the think aloud protocol. Uh, Further reading challenges that they face is that they need to know the different cultural backgrounds to assist them to understand the case better. Actually, for example, in the interview, uh, this participant mentioned that, but I need to go through until I differentiate who is the ex-husband and ex-wife. I don't know what name is the ex-husband or the ex-wife. I need the background knowledge. And in the Think Aloud protocol, the participant said the appellant is Tan So Moy. Is this a guy or a male? Hey, guy or male? Female? So basically, in terms of reading challenges, this study um, is actually the results of this study is actually aligned with the challenges found by Arifin in 2010 and 2013 regarding the reading of legal cases among law students. So novice readers, basically they struggle with legal principle. There's a struggle with legal terminology, including specialist vocabulary and Latin terms used in legal documents. The participants also find it challenging to identify the case principles and statutes. So another interesting finding is on the importance of having background knowledge on the case. So in conclusion, the results or findings of the study offer pertinent insights into the case loss processing strategies, as well as the obstacles or the problems that readers encounter when they engage with it or when they engage with the case law. So, understanding how students approach reading case law can be actually a valuable and practical tool for identifying meaningful connections between form and function. So, this knowledge can actually assist educators in aiding the students or helping the students comprehension of handling legal articles, especially case law. So teaching the right reading skills to law students is of utmost importance. Okay, and educators need to ensure that the students are actually equipped with the right reading skills so that they can actually succeed in their studies and they will also be successful in their future career as legal practitioners. So basically, these are the references for our paper. The second slide is also showing more references. And this is the last slide for references. Okay. So if you would like to contact me, this is my email address and my affiliation. Okay, on that note, thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Terima kasih. Share, arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you. Bye.